community many, many times. And I just wanted to let them have a chance to share with me those concerns, but also the cost of childcare. You know, when you hear what people pay to have their children watched, and whether you have a little one or you're expecting another little one, this is something that you're thinking about all the time. And we also talked about the high cost of rent, how expensive it is, and will I be able to stay here? I love this neighborhood, but the costs keep going up and up and up. So I just wanted to assure them that I've heard their cries for help. I knew this, and that's why my budget, just unveiled a few weeks ago, really talks about what I want to do, which is make my family, your family is my fight. And so what does that mean? Putting more money back in your pockets, countless ways. But starting with a child tax credit that before I became governor was literally zero for little kids, we're going to put $1,000 in the pockets of families for each child under the age of 4. It adds up quickly, a significant amount of money. We also talked about a middle-class tax cut, the largest in 70 years, so we're excited about getting that approved by the legislature. The inflation rebate, what does that mean? It means that because of inflation, people spent lots more money on everything, and we collected more at the state level. We collected $3 billion more than anticipated. So what do you do with it? You give it back to the people who overpaid all those years, and so that's going to result in over $500 back in people's pockets as well. And lastly, 2 more things. I want to point out that the cost of breakfasts and lunches for kids who are school age, we're going to cover that cost for a number of reasons. One is it gives time back to busy parents. It also becomes a great equalizer. There are children today who are skipping lunches and meals because of the stigma associated if they're on a subsidized plan or they're getting support from the government because their parents don't make enough money. We want these kids to be fed. We don't want them stigmatized and feel different than the other children. And also busy parents not to have to worry about the time involved in breakfasts and lunches, but also it comes out to about another $1,600 per year per child back in parents' pockets. You add all that up, we're talking about $5,000 more in families' pockets if I can get this through the legislature, and I'm excited about the opportunity to let families know we hear them, we understand what they're going through, and anything we can do to alleviate that burden and put more money back in their pockets will always be my priority. So I'm happy to take any comments. I don't know if anybody else, Sarah or Kiana or Danny, want to say a couple words?
I'm just really excited to feel supported by our governor and feel like she sees the struggles that moms go through. And being a mother, being a parent, it's expensive. It is a consistent expense that puts money into our government, so it makes sense that you would support us back and we can hold hands in that way. So it's really exciting to hear these plans.
I appreciate that very much. Any questions for our moms?
Start with on-topic questions first. Any on-topics? Jen.
You mentioned when you came in that your conversation with the governor was about rent, right? Rent. Could you express, if you wouldn't mind stepping up there, to talk a little bit about that conversation with the governor and what you experienced as a single parent and how that sort of has shaped what you've been able to, what decisions you've been able to make?
Is this on? Okay.
This on.
It is. So, yes, I think that it's hard to find like really good housing for a great price. I mean, I don't expect to get a mansion for $2, but I also want it to be safe and I want it to be well taken care of as far as the maintenance of it, and affordable, because it is hard when you're doing everything by yourself as a single parent, whether that be mom or dad, and you're trying to make ends meet with grocery prices, as well as trying to make rent on time, and also trying to afford childcare, because if you work, then you have to leave your kid with someone. So as I've stated before, you have the choice of either being with your kid and missing out on work, or missing out on your kid and being at work. So.
And
My turn, please.
Sophia, you want to say something? Want to say something? Go Bills. Yeah, go Bills. There's a girl after my heart. Say MVP Josh Allen. Here we go. And on that issue, that's why I have $100 million in my budget. You know, part of it, $50 million to go for first-time home buyers, for families that have been working so long just to scrape together that down payment when they finally have a chance to realize that dream, but also $50 million for renovations of buildings to make them habitable for others. We talked about all the buildings that are run down, but if we can get them rebuilt into a place that is safe and can function as a home for someone, what a difference that'll make. So I've put in my budget, my first year, $25 billion toward building more affordable homes across the state. We're about halfway to our goal. I'm proud to announce that after 3 years, we have a 5-year plan. And so we're making progress, but until we build more housing, which is why we're rewarding the pro-housing communities, even here today, those who are stepping up and saying, we'll build more housing, and then we make you eligible for significant grants. And so that's what I'm excited about, is finding new ways to be creative, because on its own, people are not building enough housing, and our friends here, struggling moms, are just paying way too much in rent, and I want that to change.
All right, time for one more on topic?
Yeah, isn't she sweet? Isn't she? All right, Sarah, thank you. You did great. Thank you. Bye, Don. Can I get a hug? Yes, there's my girl. Oh, you're such a big girl. She's coming home with me. It's called Adopt a Grandma. All right, can you kiss me goodbye? Oh, love you, darling. All right.
Yeah, you
Adopt a grandma.
Yeah, you are good doctor.
I'm a good.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye. Thank you. Really nice. Thank you. I'm a good adopt-a grandma. Doesn't get any better than that.
Time for one or two off topics.
Yeah.
We'll start with Jen.
Governor, we have done a lot of reporting locally with some of our school districts who are very concerned about the upcoming mandate
Yep.
to transition their school bus fleets to electric.
Yep.
We have a shortage of power space. We have shortage of space on the grid as it is when you talk about housing and commercial development. And they are worried there's just not enough power, one, and some about the costs of the actual buses and the infrastructure. Is this something you're thinking about in Albany? Have you had discussions about possibly delaying the timeline to this?
Absolutely. We've been having many conversations about, this is aspirational. We want this to happen. But we also have to take into consideration that their circumstances have changed since this went into law. First of all, the availability of being able to even acquire these buses. But that's why I have $500 million in my budget to help alleviate the cost for localities. But you're absolutely right. We need to make accommodations. This is not going to be a hard and fast rule, because we have to deal with the realities that these school districts are facing.
So your message to them is calm down a little bit, because a lot of them are worried
No.
about the funding of it. They say, if I have to ask my taxpayers to pay for all these new electric buses, I'm not even sure they would pass that.
Right.
And the $500 million sounds like a lot of money, but when you're talking about a full fleet transition.
Right, that's $500 million this year. It's a lot of money, and we're willing to be supportive partners to transition to clean energy transportation. When you think about your child standing there waiting for the buses to come and picking up the other kids, and the bus comes and they have the exhaust, the diesel exhaust. I mean, this is also about protecting your child's health as well as the long-term health of our planet. So these are investments that need to be made. They're always tough at the beginning, but I guarantee there'll come a time when we look back and say we never knew there was anything but electric school buses. But we are there to help with this transition.
And then time for one more, Natalie.
Hi, Governor.
Hi.
On the topic of rock salt, I understand your office has been in contact with American Rock Salt to ensure they meet obligations for public buyers, but we have towns that have had to drive to Albany for supplies. More than 700 notices were sent out to offer assistance with the delivery issues. American Rock Salt won't provide an explanation for delays, and I want to ask, will they be investigated? This is a matter of public safety, and they are not meeting obligations.
Also, we have to consider the fact that we have extreme weather. I mean, this is the worst weather we've had in a long time, and sort of sustained cold that requires constant salt on the roads. I spent a lot of time in local government. We as a locality stockpiled, but sometimes we did run low, and you have to look at the circumstances and find out what's available. There's no limitation on any municipality being able to go to another source. We're helping that happen. But I also want to say, in order to help alleviate the stress on municipalities and businesses, we are suspending, as of this moment, the requirement that there be certain hours of service, that you have to be, or limited hours on the road for truck drivers, in order for them to have longer hours to continue their deliveries, to make sure that our municipalities in particular have what they need to make people safe. So this is a temporary situation, but also I know that the State Office of General Services is helping people right now as we speak be able to access what they need to keep the roads safe. That's our top priority, safety on our roads. All right.
One more on that, if I can. Private contractors with small businesses that also help keep the public safe from slip and falls are not under the centralized contract but are impacted. The state said it doesn't have any influence or control over the salt availability for private contractors, but they are ensuring municipalities get supply. I guess, how does that not influence who American Rock Salt makes a priority customer? I just think there might be a disconnect to the reasoning private contractors don't have access, and the contractors do think it's the state.
Right. There's whoever spread the false rumor that there was an emergency declaration that it all had to go to public is wrong. That's false. But I'm very clear about that. So be careful what you read on the internet. But also, there are many sources. There's other sources in New York State. There's sources in Canada. There are other places in order for these private contractors to avail themselves. They have no limitations on them on where they can go and whatever price they are able to pay. So it's what the market will bear right now. It is a stressful time for everyone in the state, given that we're facing another winter storm this weekend, and it doesn't seem to be relenting. But also, I'm encouraging all localities in particular to stockpile during the off season. That's critically important. That's what we had to do. That's why you see our state thruway and highway barns and our transportation barns filled with the salt year round, because we understand that anything can happen with Mother Nature. Again, we've had years where they've had to lay off workers at American Rock Salt because the weather was very calm and mild, and so it's you have to learn how to adjust seasonally, but it's very unpredictable, and that's all I'll say on that. But we are sensitive to the concerns of everyone who's been affected by this. All right.
Thank you, everyone.
I'm sorry, we haven't been here in Rochester. Robert Brooks is
Yeah.
from our area.
Absolutely.
And obviously, we know the criminal investigation is going on with the special prosecutor, but you toured Marcy, you spoke with the superintendent there and the head of docs. Where is the state's investigation into the larger system? And how long are you expecting that to take, and what actions might you consider taking in light of it?
The murder of Robert Brooks was a horrific act of violence. It's unspeakable that a man who's in prison and had a sentence for what he did, it wasn't meant to be a death sentence. And I immediately, even without seeing the video, when I heard about what had happened, I instantaneously said, I want them fired. I want the perpetrators fired, all 14 individuals. I said, I will go there myself. I changed the leadership at Marcy. I also said we need to do more to make sure that every inch of a facility is covered with cameras that cannot be masked, and body cams as well. So we've allocated $400 million to add more cameras. I have called for a system-wide culture review to say, is this going on anywhere else? What is going on here? How is this happening? And we're bringing in outside experts to do that for us as we speak. So that is all ongoing. But I am as impatient as anyone for charges, serious charges, to be brought against the individuals who perpetrated a murder. There's no other way to describe it. A murder on Robert Brooks, and his family deserves justice. We all need to know there's a resolution of this soon. I believe it'll be forthcoming fairly shortly.